Hi everybody, welcome to Revitalise Meets, where I get the opportunity to meet fellow business connections and entrepreneurs and key decision makers from across the globe in this wonderful virtual network that we're living in right now. And it comes with a great pleasure to be welcoming today a connection who I've had the pleasure, the privilege to speak to over the last few months and get to know his business a lot more. Can you please welcome us today, Mr. Andrew Deighton from AWD, Development Solutions Limited, and he's been in business now for over 7 years, past in April. Andrew, how are you today?
Hi, Lee. Good, thank you. Yeah, really good.
Well, thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate it for who's watching and for listening. But can we just kick proceedings off by you just giving us a bit of an overview about your business and your journey, where you've been and where you are right now?
Yeah, okay. Well, very briefly where I've been, I've worked at Rolls-Royce around various locations for 26 years. And then, as you said, I set up my business 7 years ago now to do stuff that I really enjoyed doing, which is around training and development. So I run a training and development consultancy business, working with businesses who really want to put in some strategy and some process and then implement some solutions around developing their organization, their teams and the people within the business. And a particular area of focus that I work on is around team building, team development. So that's the stuff that I really enjoy doing.
Brilliant. It's been quite an exciting journey for you from Rolls-Royce to where you are right now as well. And what's been the sort of the biggest sort of challenges and achievements that you've been through over the past 7 years?
I think that the biggest challenge I had was kind of at the start. So I got a couple of projects quite early on that really almost were full time, and it was all this running your own business stuff was really new to me, and so that was great. I had a really good sort of first 6 months to a year actually. But then what I'd not realised is that you need a pipeline, and so because I'd never had to do it before, so suddenly, okay, what do I do now then? So that was quite a challenge. So the following year was actually quite difficult because I'd not thought about where the next work is coming from and to sort of keep feeding that pipeline. So I think that was my biggest challenge right at the start, was what do I do? Where do I get that? Because I came out of Rolls-Royce with a good internal network, but no external network at all. I was literally a nobody. So that was quite a shock after working in a big corporate world, So I think that was my biggest challenge. In terms of achievement, I think that actually happened last year, about almost a year to the day, really. I was selected as one of the Small Biz 100 for last year. So the first Saturday of December is Small Business Saturday, and as part of that, they select 100 businesses from thousands of entries, and I was chosen as one of those. So you get allocated one of the 100 days leading up. So they'll be announcing this year's group very soon, actually. So it was about this time last year I found out. Couldn't say anything to anybody. It was all secret because it was released at a certain point in time. But that was great. That came at a really kind of a really good time for me, because it was pretty, as you know, pretty difficult last year. But yeah, it came at that was a really good thing. And I'd been trying for 4 years to be selected. So you just got to keep going. And that was great. That was really good.
Well, the work paid off for you, because with
absolutely.
the work you've been putting in, it's funny when you talk about the pipeline as well prior to that with the challenge. Many people forget about that. It's that they have that momentum that's going so strong and so quick, and things are happening because you're reacting to what's been happening, what you've been putting into place. Yep. And then if that sort of slows down, how do you keep that momentum going? That's a big challenge. And again, the work that you put in is testament to where you are from the achievement as well, Andrew. So thanks for sharing that. Really appreciate it. With everything that's been going on at the minute, we've touched on briefly there about the challenges that we've had over the last couple of years. But how has your business sort of changed recently by adapting to more of a hybrid virtual world? Because we talked about that prior to starting the recording today.
Yeah. Well, everything that I did was face-to-face delivery, whether it was training or facilitation or team development events, and then obviously that disappeared. So I spent quite a bit of time thinking really what I wanted to do, and was what I did what I still wanted to do, and decided, yeah, it was. So as you say, I had to flip, and everything became virtual. So, started invested in microphones and cameras and lights and green screens and all that sort of stuff to try and up my game, because I'd never done it before. I never had to do it before, and then so moved all my my delivery, my coaching as well, online. So yeah, that was quite a flip, and actually I quite enjoy it, because it's obviously saves travel time, saves travel costs. People can do shorter sessions. It works. I think it works really well, and it's been very a very useful experience, actually, swapping into that hybrid world.
I mean, you talk about the likes of the hybrid role, and the way that we're now embracing a virtual world, or embracing more of a wider audience globally. You touched on briefly there about time management. Have you had to you talk about the flip, have you had to adjust your time management processes now over the last few months?
Not so much. I have, as well, whilst I was reviewing things, I did sort of take a bit of a step back in terms of where I was actually spending my time and my money. So there's a few subscriptions and memberships that I stopped, and some of the networking activities I did, I stopped doing, and things like that, because I really just took that step back and thought, where, because it's not so much the cost, it's the time. And so what could I have been doing during that half a day by the time I've got somewhere, 2 hours at an event to half an hour back home, and it's really what's the lost potential for the time that you've spent versus the return. So that was quite a useful activity to do, actually. And suddenly your cost base is reduced, as well as getting, suddenly I've got an extra probably a day a week, so it's a really useful activity. And what's your hourly rate for that time? So I might have spent £20 to go to a 2-hour event, but what's my chargeable rate for that? And was that, if I costed it that way, was it useful? So it's a good activity to do, actually, to really value your time.
It's getting that balance right. When you get the balance right, what you're looking for, but also the thing you touched on there ever so briefly was, what is the cost of not getting involved into that?
Yes, absolutely. That's right.
People will not look at that element. They look at the cost effective or the investment point of view, but the investment of not getting involved into something, or not being continuous, or having continuity.
Yeah, absolutely.
In what you're doing, because you sort of, like what you mentioned before about that achievement and challenges, it's building that momentum up, and then the skill to it is keeping the momentum going forward, which again is getting that balance and investment of time in place as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things, that we're both involved with, for business, for example, that was, right. I joined that, and you've got to throw yourself into it. So I've joined as many virtual networking sessions as I could, and now we're doing physical networking and games as well. So you, as you say, you've really got it, and it keeps that momentum. Yeah. It starts to get you regularly seen and known.
It's a bit like ourselves, really, Andrew. It's like, we're on two different ends of the country, and we can harness the virtual network. For people watching and listening today, is that you can still do the physical face-to-face, the golf, etc., everything else. But then you've also got this wonderful tool now to be able to add in to an investment of your time, which I think is a great asset that we've all got.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. So thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate it, and how you've adapted your business. But I'd like to ask you, what's your top 3 golden tips for really looking at around teams, because that's where you work in that arena around teams and leadership, and also in starting your own business, because you have those challenges in the early days coming out of a career, from career to business. So what's been your top 3 golden tips for teams and starting your own business?
Yeah, I think first one for teams is, and I learned this when I was part of a project team that were building a new factory, and the guy who ran it, we were building this factory for usual business reasons, cost, quality, lead time, that sort of stuff. But what he got us to do was think, why do I want to be part of this team? It's kind of the what's in it for me. So at that time in my career, my personal situation, it was quite early on in my career. I got 2 young kids at the time. They were very young, and it was all about career and opportunity, so I could provide better for them, really. So that was my sort of personal drive. And then when things, as they do on a project, you have highs and lows. You've got that real focus as to, this is why I'm doing it. It's okay, it's good for the company, but actually this is my reason for doing it. So I think getting people to think, what's in it for me, when they're part of a team is my first thought. My second one is really around style and preference. So if you're a team leader, or even if you're a team member, actually really understanding your personal style and preference in terms of how you like to work and communicate and so on, and then how that's maybe different. There's no right or wrong, good or bad, it's just different. How that's different with the different people in your team, and how you can adapt your style to help someone else. And then once you've started to do that, you can ask them to change maybe how they communicate to help you. So I think understanding your own styles and preferences, and then, okay, how can I help other people by changing? I think that's a really key one, whether you're a leader or a team member, actually, and personal life, and as well as business life. And then I think my last one, more from a business perspective, is I think it's really important that you do something you enjoy doing. So when I left Rolls-Royce, I'd moved from an engineering role into HR and training roles, and I was an HR director at times, and some training and development roles. But I knew when I set up, I didn't want to do generalist HR. I wanted to focus on the team and the development and training side of things, because that's what I really enjoyed. So I think that's critical. If you're setting up your own business, you've got to enjoy it. Otherwise, there's no point to me. So I think those are my 3, Lee.
Brilliant. I appreciate that as well. And I hope everyone's got their notebooks at hand and they're writing all those little areas down. Rewind it back and make sure you copy them down. But think about that first one: enjoy what you love, because if you enjoy what you love, it'll never be work in your life.
Yep, absolutely.
When you look at it from that perspective. Thanks so much for sharing those little golden nuggets from Mr. Andrew's treasure trove of knowledge and information. We talk a lot about self-reflection, and we talk about, time out of the week to self-reflect on family and business. How have you done that over the last sort of 7 years? Have you took time out for knowledge, for learnings, for training? What have you done with self-reflection over the past few years?
I think there's been a couple of things. So last year, I joined a mastermind group, sort of a paid for mastermind group, and we obviously started meeting face to face, and then it all went virtual, which was fine as well. And so we had monthly sessions focused in on a specific topic around marketing or sales or websites or LinkedIn or whatever. And so there were some very key topics, and it was all for we were all either speakers, trainers, facilitators, coaches. So we all had a bit of a common ground, but in very different areas. So we weren't competing, but that was great. And then that spun off into small groups. So I've still meet with them virtually. 4 or 5 of us have a monthly catch-up, sort of accountability type session to raise any issues and get any support and advice and from other people, which is great. And then the other thing that I've started doing since January, and we've done it every week, there's a guy who I met through that mastermind group, actually. And so we have it's almost like a sprint thing. So every Monday at 8 o'clock, we have a call and say, this is what I've got on this week. This is what my tasks that I'm going to focus on, the meetings I've got, the design work I'm doing, whatever. And then on a Friday at 3 o'clock, we have another 10 minutes and say, right, what did I do? Did I do what I said I was going to do? So kind of accountability, but very short. It's not a 2-hour session. It's 10 minutes on a Monday morning and maybe a little bit longer on a Friday to review it. And we look back. And I think when you're working on your own, running your own business, having that support network is really useful. So it's really a mix of that one-to-one sprint type stuff, and then small mastermind group, I think it's been that's really helpful.
Yeah, it's key to have that sort of people that are around you to be able to look at what you're doing, for them to actually reply back of key areas of support and helping you through that. So I think those are really good areas, especially for self-reflection, training and knowledge, having those people, that a circle of communication, a circle of connections that can support you. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Andrew. What's the next step for you in your business? What's around the corner for you?
I think, as we talked about earlier, what I've found is that online works very well and can work very well. And particularly, I've been doing a series, probably I've done about 15 now, for an organization, of 45-minute training sessions. So literally it starts at 9, it finishes at 9:45. I guarantee it will finish on time, because that's part of being a professional, really. So people know that after that they can get back on with the rest of their day. So those have been, and almost, I think, the days of long team development sessions have it's shifted. I think it's shifted. So these are very focused on a specific topic. And so I want to grow more, almost a library of those, and then you can deliver them live. Or I've also got a platform that I'm going to sort of put them on with workbooks and checklists and little videos, so people can sort of purchase just that module, So I think that shift, which I'd never done before, but that shift of having a mix of sort of stored material that people can dip in and out of, alongside live delivery and then face-to-face delivery as well. So having that real hybrid mix, I think, is kind of where I'm moving. And also, the other part I want to try and build, because I've done it a few times and I know it works, is trying to build that long-term relationship. So becoming a kind of a virtual development director for people, so they don't have the cost of a full-time person in their business, but they've got access on a flexible basis to development support and advice and strategy and things like that. But so you grow with the business. Yeah. I think that's the other part I'm looking to develop at the moment.
Well, there's some exciting things happening for you, Andrew, and I wish you all the very best for the future endeavors. There's plenty of activities and plenty of things that are going to be happening over the next few years. I think they're going to make a big difference to you, and most importantly, to the people who you are supporting through your journey through AWD as well. So thank you for sharing that with us once again as well. So with everybody who's been watching and listening today, how can they make contact with Mr. Andrew Deighton and start with that virtual cup of coffee and delve into the knowledge from your good self, sir?
Yeah, so LinkedIn is an easier way. So and just Andrew Deighton, search for me on LinkedIn. So that's the first way. Obviously, my email is andrew@awddevelopmentsolutions.com. I've got a Twitter @AWD Development. So any of those ways would be great. And as you say, Lee, happy to have a half-hour coffee with anybody, just to build those links, build those relationships, because that's what it's about. Someone introduced us, and yeah, that's how it works, isn't it? It's great, yeah.
It does indeed. I would highly recommend everybody who's watching and listening today as well is to reach out to Andrew, organize that virtual coffee. You'll find it in many posts that you'll see after this recording as well, to connect with Andrew via LinkedIn, which is the first port of call I would encourage many people to do. Then organize that virtual cup of coffee, and then if you're local to Andrew, you might even get on the golf course at some point as well and enjoy a round of golf.
I can offer people a free round if they want. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Brilliant. Take advantage of that, everybody. If you play golf, just go off and enjoy it. So, Andrew, thank you so much for joining us today on Revitalise Meets. It's been great, as always, to learn a bit more about your business journey, where you are, where you're heading, and where you've been, etc. as well. So thank you for sharing that with everybody. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Hey, thanks for the opportunity, Lee.
You're more than welcome. And thank you to you all for watching and listening today to Revitalise Meets. Stay tuned for many more episodes coming up, where I get the chance, as always, to meet and discuss with many entrepreneurs and key decision makers from across the global business network about their business journey. Thanks again to Andrew. Thank you to you. And we look forward to seeing you at the next episode coming very, very soon. Take care, everybody. Stay safe, keep healthy, and as always, keep connecting. Take care. Bye-bye for now.